Now the final stage of this project is to export it for print, and this is really important because you're not handing in an InDesign file, and you would never give the InDesign file to a printer. You would do it as a PDF, and you're sending PDFs to clients as well. It's a really important skill. So the way we do this is we go to File, Export. That's pretty simple. Now we get a whole, well, first we get to save it and then we get our options. So I'm just going to leave the file name the same, and it's, yes, a PDF. I could do a few other files, but to be honest, the only ones I've ever used are JPEG and PNG when I'm using images or logos. But in this instance, a PDF and save. And now it comes up with our options. There are default settings. You can go smallest file, high quality print, press quality. If you're going to print, you're either going to use high quality or press quality, or one of these PDF options. These are often more for press when you're putting a newspaper ad in where they have very specific printing presses. So today we're just going to use smallest file size. In here you can say I'm going to do all my pages or just one or two of your pages. Am I going to do just the single pages? Or if I was doing a book, I might want to do my spreads, a 2-page spread. Embed page thumbnails. We don't really need to worry about that. Optimize for fast web viewing. This means if you're emailing the file for people, it's a good idea. If it's a print file, you could undo that one. View PDF after exporting. This is a great tool because what this does is when you export the file, it opens it automatically in PDF, in Adobe PDF for you, or in Preview, whatever software you have, which means you can then check it. Often you see things differently in the PDF, and I highly recommend checking the file every time you export it. So that's a great one to leave checked. These ones, when we're just doing a small file, not so important. Compression. This is where the size of the images comes into it. If you were doing high quality print, for instance, the file size is bigger for print. Generally for print, an image needs to be at the smallest 300 dpi, pixels per inch. So that's where that's all happening. Let's go back to smallest file size. Marks and bleeds. Even though we're doing a smallest file size because we're working with internet for this, the purpose of this course, you need to be uploading it to me. That's why we're doing a smallest file size. In here though, crop marks. Really important. Because we did 3mm bleeds, we're going to use the document bleed settings. They're the ones we set at the very beginning. We're going to offset, this is a standard 2.117, we can up that to 3 to match the bleed settings that we already did. The type default, that's fine. Do we need any other settings? Really, no we don't, but I do recommend saying all printer marks and exploring it, having a play with what they look like, what they do. It's good to know, and you're only going to learn all the little bits and bobs in this software by just trial and error. Give it a go. If you don't know what it is, play with it. Output. These settings you generally leave the same. Unless you know a lot about printing presses and a lot about colour and the different systems available and the different profiles, you're not going to start playing with these. At this stage, it's fine just to leave it. Advanced, again, this is getting into the fine, really advanced nitty-gritty, and this is every company, every print house will do this differently. So just you leave it as the default for now. A bit more information if you need to secure the file, if you're worried about copyright, you can do that in this section, but again, for our purposes right now, we don't need to. You can view all your different settings in here to make sure at the end. And that's it. I generally go back to general because they're your most important ones and press export. Your documents transparency blend. This is a window that often pops up. It's because we're doing it low res, the smallest file size. If we were doing it high res, it wouldn't pop up. Don't worry about it at this stage. Press OK. And it's going to export our file now. And look, there's our PDF that's opened. I'm going to minimize it so that I can see both pages. And look at that, it's got its crop marks, it's looking beautiful. And this is how I would want you to submit your finished file to me for your assignments.